let's say I walk into Opelika, which is a very dangerous neighborhood here in North Miami, with a briefcase that has see-through, and there's $1 million in there. And within maybe midnight, walking at midnight, you know, within maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I'm quickly surrounded by goons, and they rob me and take my money and beat me up in the process. Who's at fault? Me for walking around with the money, or the goons for attacking me?
You walking around with the money. Who told you to do that?
Okay.
Nobody told you to put it in a clear suitcase.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's true.
Brain power.
It's true.
Fantastic, right?
This is just how I am. I always like to think of situations like the cause and effect.
So let's go around the table here. Whose fault is it?
I think it's both. I think you should be aware of your surroundings.
Who
and
bears more responsibility?
the other person also shouldn't be fucking robbing you.
Okay, who bears more responsibility?
You.
Okay, you.
Yeah, you.
You. There's always going to be crazy people.
You.
You could.
What about you?
I'll say you. Can I explain?
Yeah.
I think that how I think is, yeah, you're walking around with a see-through briefcase, but at the end of the day, whoever is actually committing the action, they are the one that's responsible for the action.
Of course, but who bears more responsibility?
For yourself. For that happening to you.
For my personal safety, the person, me, or the person that attacked me?
You.
I mean, I guess it sucks on both ends, but
You know you were in the ghetto?
You.
okay.
You. Yeah, you.
Me.
Yeah. You.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that I had the authority, right, and the ability and the value to walk around with $1 million, right? But then I stupidly thought that the world was going to accept it, and then I got robbed, right? I had I had the authority to do it, but I didn't understand that came with responsibility, right?
What are you trying to compare it to?
Yeah,
I already know. I know what this is going.
So what I'm saying is this. It's very simple, ladies. With great power comes great responsibility, okay? Women are autonomous adults. Unless you guys are a bunch of bumbling retards that can't care after yourself, which I don't think you are, most women in the United States especially are looked at as equals to men legally, okay? You have all the same rights and privileges that we do, all right? I'm not telling you that rape is acceptable, sexual assault is acceptable, but what I am saying is that it's out there. So you have to bear a little bit of responsibility for your actions and putting yourself in certain situations, okay? The problem is that most women lack accountability. You are allergic to the word accountability because you guys get all the same accesses and privileges and rights of men, but you don't want any responsibility. If you go out on a date with a guy, you should be screening that guy. You should know he's not a weirdo. You should not be putting yourself in predicaments where you're alone with him. And then if you hook up with him, well, if you decide to hook up with him, you hook up with him. It is what it is. Now, if he forces himself on you, that's one thing. But what you were saying, you didn't allude to that. You were just like, oh, well, I felt pressured, so I did it anyway. Well, then you made a conscious choice to hook up with him.
No.
It's not always that simple, man.
Okay, look,
you're
man.
trying to do like 1 + 1 = 2, but it's not always.
Because that's how the world works.
It's math.
Yes.
You can't say that because you're not a woman. You're not put in our shoes. You don't understand the situations that we are put in.
It's very simple. If you don't want to hook up with the individual, you say no and you leave.
It's just accountability at the end of the day. Like, here's a good life philosophy. Like, at the end of the day.
Well, it's not about, okay, but again, authority, the ability to go on dates with men and be able to do what you want comes with what? Responsibility. You cannot sit there and say, I want to date any man I want. I want to be able to do whatever I want, dress however I want, show my titties, be a strong, independent woman. You cannot say that, have this authority without responsibility. The problem with a lot of modern day women and a lot of you guys is thinking is that you guys want authority. Are y'all paying attention?
Yes, we are.
Stop the cap.
What did I just say?
You were saying a lot. You said something about accountability.
And what else?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say.
All right, but you're not listening, though.
You said that if we carry our titties out, if we dress a certain way.
I said that like 2 minutes ago.
You said that. I mean, it's been 2 minutes since I've been talking, I think. I don't know what you want me to say. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, just say that. Stupid. Pay fucking attention.
No need to do stupid.
No, because that was very dumb. Stupid. If y'all are going to be doing extra stuff, whatever, this is a podcast where we try to have high IQ conversation. If you're going to lower the IQ of the conversation, y'all can leave. This is an opportunity for you guys. If you want to fuck it up, y'all can leave.
Can I ask the women a question, Myron?
Stop. Are you going to pay attention?
I've been paying attention this whole time. You
clearly haven't. That's why I'm talking to you right now.
I have not even been difficult this whole time. Like, I've been cooperating. It's not about being difficult. It's about respecting the platform. We're having a conversation. We're talking about a topic, and I'm trying to make a point here. And then I don't want you saying something down the road that is dumb or doesn't make sense or something I've already explained. I'm just simply saying accountability, right, or authority comes with responsibility.
That's how it goes. So if women want to be treated equal to men and have all the same rights and privileges, that comes with responsibility. Y'all want the authority without the responsibility, and that's ludicrous. It doesn't work that way. So if you hook up with a guy and you feel, I was pressured, you shouldn't have been with that guy in the first place. Just leave. Or tell him, I don't want to hook up. If he forces himself on you, that's one thing.
That easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the repercussions to saying no is even scarier sometimes.
What's he gonna do?
Men are very
Beat
pushy.
you up.
like-
No.
Force himself on you, like start shit, maybe fucking ruin your whole life. I don't know.
So,
But there were situations where it was tough to get out of. And it's scary. And a lot of females go through that. And for you guys to be just like, oh, take accountability, you shouldn't have been there. That's not the point. We should be changing the men that are shitty motherfuckers instead of being, well, you should be careful. Of course, we should all be responsible for our own actions, but we should also be holding other people accountable for being shitty.
I feel like women
but you can't change the world. You're going to change yourself.
Yeah.
It starts with
Sorry to say.
Exactly.
Can I?
You can't
If
change
we
the
all
guys that
come
open lockups.
together.
See how it's funny? Hold on. See how it's funny when I use the example of me as a man walking around with this money getting robbed? All of y'all were quick to say, I bear the responsibility. But when I say, okay, ladies, you also got to bear some responsibility. Whoa, what do you
No,
think?
but
Can I ask a question?
You didn't let me elaborate. You just asked me one question.
So she was first, and then go ahead.
Okay, so like my thing is that I feel like women tend to be held more accountable than men. Like you're saying that the whole
That's
money,
wrong.
the suitcase situation.
Yeah.
Sorry, the suitcase situation. Like for example, like when a woman and a man have sex and a man decides to come inside a woman, even though she said, do not come inside me, and I get pregnant, why the fuck do I have to deal with those consequences and you're not man enough to like...
Because you have 33 plus forms of birth control.
Tell a nigga put a
I
condom
told you not to come inside me though.
But you have more. You have more access to
Put a
deal with it.
condom on, nigga.
Or make them wear a condom.
Yeah, right.
This is what I'm trying to say. Yo, women are allergic to accountability, bro. I'm telling y'all.
Some guys like to take it off while they're having sex, and you won't even
What
know.
if you're allergic
That's happened to me.
But why are you having sex with
Why do I
girls
have to put
that do
extra
that?
hormones
You
in my body so
don't.
you can get pregnant?
Hold on. Ladies, who picks if the guy fucks or not?
The woman.
Y'all do.
Have you heard of narcissists?
What?
Who put up a fucking mask and
Can I
pretend
say
like they're
something?
the fucking Prince Charming, the fucking end all to be all, and then you think you found your one, and then you find out it's all a fucking lie? That shit happens.
All the time.
I thought I had a great judgment with my ex-husband.
That's
He was
fair.
a piece of shit.
He saw
Did you learn
you
from
didn't
that?
have good judgment.
He saw
then.
you a dream.
No, he
thought you did,
presented
but you didn't.
himself until I got married, and then the second I got married, the mask dropped.
Okay. Well,
And you know what? I relate. That's happened to me as well. But ultimately, what are you going to do after that? Do you learn from that? And then going into any other interactions, are you like, no, I'm not going to put myself in that situation.
I can spot a narcissist.
So it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So if that can happen to you once, sure. But if it happens to you again and again and again, there has to be some type of accountability that's being taken for
There's
that.
a statistic that people who have experienced narcissistic abuse, it takes them at least 7 narcissists to break that cycle. You can Google that.
Stockholm syndrome. I understand that. I know that it is a deep psychological condition, but ultimately that still does not displace the responsibility from the individual. Ultimately, you are the one who has control of your life. At the end of the day, would you rather your life be easier or would you rather you be better to be able to navigate the difficult circumstances?
She's saying like she's saying after she got married, she saw the real him. She's not saying right then and there he put up a front. That's what she's trying to say.
What about the women who come from generations of like dealing with shit like this? Like my grandma, my great grandma, my mom, like my aunt. Like
that's
it's
ingrained.
This is what you know.
Hold on.
It's your paradigm.
Patty, I will say.
Bad bitch, period.
Okay, so see,
Chris, what does that?
No. He's saying post like that. Niggas gonna be like on that shit.
Oh,
but that's her brand.
But we're sexualized from the day we are born all the way up to like what we are right now.
No,
Let's be for
no,
real.
you sexualize yourself.
No, yeah.
So I was sexualizing myself when I was
Women
1
in
year
general,
old.
a lot of times women sexualize themselves.
Without even knowing.
No.
No? Who?
I could go to the.
Does someone put a gun to your head and say,
sexy?
put these clothes on?
Who finds women sexy, men and females? We both bear that responsibility.
What?
Who finds someone sexy? If a dude is gonna find a girl sexy, they're gonna want to see
Who
that.
pays for your OnlyFans? It's men.
Men and women, you never know.
Okay,
No, bro, women don't pay for OnlyFans.
Definitely.
Okay, so who's driving that? The men.
No. Here's the thing, ladies. You cannot in order for a man to objectify you, you must objectify yourself first. A man can't objectify you.
Yeah.
You must objectify yourself first. So if you put a certain light out, they're going to assume that. In other words, if you dress provocatively, men are going to act in such manner. That's just how it is. Why do you think religions, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, whatever, they've done everything in their power to protect female modesty and have them cover up? Because they understand.
Because men are dogs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, true.
That's the world that we live in.
That's
So
true.
what are you going to do? In your angle, you've used it to monetize. Fantastic. But you got to deal with the negative consequences of that as well. You can't just get the pluses without the negatives. You objectify yourself, so in return, men are going to objectify you. And you've monetized on it.
But you know how many people dress modest and they still get raped? Like, there's a lot of priests and all that rape people.
Can I say my point real quick?
Go ahead.
Because I've been waiting for a little minute. Okay. I believe everybody holds a certain amount of responsibility and accountability. Like, we're all responsible for our safety. We're all responsible to take that extra mile to make sure nothing happens to us. Correct. We already went through that. But I feel like, going back to her point from earlier, there are certain situations where men put on masks and they make you feel safe, they make you feel comfortable, but there are certain times where they try to, you know, be like, oh, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this and that? And that's where that safety issue comes into play. It's not us not taking accountability or responsibility to make sure that they are safe to hang out with.
Who picked the man?
But I'm saying it's manipulation, because they put on a mask to make us feel safe until that time where their true selves come out. That's what I'm saying. Like,
if I go on a date with a girl, 3 dates, 4 dates, and I'm taking her to Salt Bay, Komodo, etc., right? And I don't smash, and she was just using me for free dates. Whose fault is that?
That's your fault for not getting to smash. You're doing something wrong.
So, okay, so it's my fault, right?
Obviously, you're giving her an A.
It's my fault for not being able to see the signs and figure out, yo, this girl doesn't really like me. So why is it that men have to take accountability for their L's, but women don't, even if it's a sensitive subject like this?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, that is what you're saying.
No,
you're selectively picking one gender to be held accountable for their how do I say this, bad judgment of the opposite gender.
No, I'm saying there's certain people like that. I'm not saying that.
She's saying people are two-faced.
Yes, exactly.
They can
be
fake.
That's one situation coming from a girl's side, from that type of situation. Men take L's because women absolutely use them, but that's a different type of situation.
They're both manipulation.
Exactly, but that's not. I'm trying to refer to her point earlier, saying that you don't know the female experience fully, because that sometimes does happen. It doesn't happen all the time. It's rare. Maybe not as rare in some people's experiences, but it's rare.
Who picks the man?
Time. The woman.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying
it's incumbent upon the woman to mitigate risk, which means go out on multiple public dates with the guy. Make sure you do a check on his background. Make sure you talk to maybe his friends. Like, it's on the girl to do her due diligence on the man prior. Just like me.
That's what I
it's
said.
on me
she did
to
that
understand.
extra mile.
Did she, though? We don't know that. Because if she did, maybe wouldn't have been in that predicament. I'm speaking in general. I don't know her certain situation.
I'm saying, like, in certain situations, sometimes that, like, it's hidden. That kind of urge, like, they don't reveal that for like a long while after you guys hang out, so that you guys feel comfortable
at the right moment. They pull the trigger at the right moment. You don't see it.
Okay,
it's absolutely the woman's fault if something does happen. Maybe she wasn't as careful as you're saying she should be, but it does happen.
I'll give her a part here, because I will admit some guys will play a part for a long period of time and then change. However, the moment you find that change, what do? That's what I'm worried about. Do you stay there or do you actually leave?
It might be too late, though.
It is the woman's responsibility to get up and leave, but sometimes it is hard. It is hard.
Okay,
because
but you still got to do it.
That's your
like
choice,
like if you don't want to hook up with the guy, you just leave. You can't sit there and be like, I felt pressured, and then hook up with him.
Okay, I'm saying, like, I'm in a room with this guy. This is probably like our 6th date, and this is a point where he's trying to have something sexual go on, right? Yeah. I'm trying to get up and leave. However, he's not letting me, because he's like, oh, where are you going? We could just play a game, or this and that.
Or my favorite, remember that donut I brought you? Like,
or it starts with, let me just start cuddling, and then you feel something.
It always starts with something little and escalates. But sometimes as a woman, we feel unsafe to get out of that situation, because your point way earlier, men are stronger than women. We cannot easily get out of that situation if we have no one around.
So a guy that you've been on 6 dates with is gonna grab you and hold you down and
sometimes
do all that?
Sometimes it does happen.
It does.
And maybe we had sexual relations before, but this one day I didn't want to do anything sexual, and he does pressure me to do it. That has happened to many women.
Say no and leave.
That even happens in relationships.
That's easy for you to say, but as a woman, as a woman, you cannot say that to me as a man because you have not experienced that at all.
As a woman, I've done that plenty of times. I understand there's an exception, and sometimes men get aggressive and manipulative and everything like that. But it's whenever a guy's trying to fuck, he's gonna sweet talk, he's gonna say what he has to say, but it's up to you to actually be assertive and to say, no, fuck you, I'm gone, and you leave.
There's fault on both ends, but in certain situations,
and that's
one fault is heavier than the other.
So, but what does that mean? So you're saying that if you hook up with him and you have sex that you didn't want to have, then you had sex you didn't want to have. What are you saying is the other worst case scenario if you tried to get up and leave? That he forced it on you? Either way, you're still having sex that you didn't want to have.
There's so many things that could happen.
I don't think she's been in that situation before.
I haven't, and I really haven't. So I'm also asking from a situation of trying to understand, but logically, I can't make it make sense in my head because if it's like, if I say no and I leave and he rapes me,
sense in your head. Listen to this. Just one situation. I go on a date with a guy. We're talking for a couple months. I'm comfortable with him at this point. I think I know his friends. I think I know this. We've had sexual relations. We've gotten up to that point. However, one day, I'm not having a good day. I don't feel like it, but he's super fucking horny. Okay? And even because his issues, he starts sweet talking me, trying to make me feel better, and then ends up being like, oh, let's cuddle. And then he just takes it out, sticks it in because you've done it before. That has happened. You can be comfortable with the guy and have sex with him in the past, but one day you don't want to do it and he wants to do it, he'll force himself on you. Men are stronger than women. Women cannot get themselves out of that situation without any help, right? Because men are stronger.
But also,
guys have multiple wives, all right? Multiple wives.
Bro.
Multiple wives don't have one girlfriend.
Also, most men continue to do that because you don't be assertive. You just kind of let them do it. If you were assertive and be like, no, fuck no, then they're gonna know.
Yeah, if you don't see each other and you have a sexual relationship, he's gonna assume.
So
that's a much different scenario.
So I get what you're saying, 100%. That could be possible. It could happen. I'm just saying, at what point do you say, you know what? This is not for me. I'm walking away.
I mean, I feel like after that first initial experience where you have a feeling like this is not the right situation for me, you have to get up and leave no matter what.
But what happens though? People stay and then they complain and then they say, oh, he raped me. No, you allowed it to happen.
I mean, that's the problem with
if I had a daughter, right?
Though.
You know what I would do? I can't stop guys from being who they are, but I can help her change. So she would know what to do. I'm just saying.
Your daughter could be pressured.
What if your daughter just doesn't have it in her? Like she doesn't have that voice.
I feel like that's where
she grew up.
Support comes into play.
What if there's daddy? What if there's no daddy?
You and your single mom. Like
I want to say something.
Like what if it's just where's
the father?
There's no daddy.
It's not that simple. I think that like situations just happen sometimes and it gets out of control.
It happens.
It happens.
Life is about choices. You have a choice to make.
Here's the thing, like now you gave a totally different scenario from what she was describing before. Like you're in a sexual relationship with a guy, you guys have been seeing each other for several months. They're gonna assume attraction and assume sex. And here's the thing, you want to withhold sex from your guy? I mean, I tell girls don't do that because that's not, if your guy wants to get laid, it's on the woman's duty is sex. That's just how it is. It's been that way in all the religious texts. That's why men deal with women in general is for sexual access. So I would have
to have sex with him whenever he wants.
You don't have to. But what I'm saying is that as a good girlfriend, as a good woman, you should do that and supply that to your guy because men don't ask for much.
Of course, I'm gonna give my guy some pussy.
Clearly, you didn't.
But not when I had a bad day.
Of course, man.
Yeah,
not when I had a bad day.
Okay.
My scenario was if she had a bad day, she wasn't in the mood. She's not gonna do it.
Niggas cheat.
Yeah, like you weren't in the mood. That's cool. I mean,
what about taking accountability and self-control? You say like females have to have self-control with how they're wearing their clothes, but what about men? Where's the accountability there?
No, you're right. They shouldn't be doing that. But what we're telling you guys is just like the robbers in Opalaka that are criminals regardless, it's upon you to exercise some good judgment. Now the scenario she gave is way different than what you gave. She's in a relationship with a guy where the guy's going to assume sexual access is a thing, and she didn't want to give it to him. That's one thing. And then you're talking about, oh, I was on a date with a guy and I felt pressured and I want to hook up with him because I don't want to kill the vibe or whatever. That's on you. So
it's sometimes easy to just go with it than say no because you don't know
you
what.
should have said no then if you didn't want to really do it.
But whose fault is that if you don't want it?
No, you don't want it, then say no.
Wait. I need to say
But
this.
that's still
So she said something about having a voice.
Yeah.
So what I think the problem is, a lot of girls are not happy with themselves first, and that is the problem. Stop going out on these fucking dates because you're not happy with yourself. You're never going to be like, oh, don't do this. You're not even happy with yourself. You don't know anything. And at the end of the day, a lot of girls are flirting with them, like, oh, maybe next time, or like they want that free dinner. Like they're doing that to themselves.
Like, yes, that's a situation, like that could be a scenario, but I think that some girls do like have crippling anxiety and their head is just like maneuvering all over the fucking place.
Well, if they know the landscape of dating, then why would they put themselves in those situations to begin with? That's the accountability that they're talking about here. You can have accountability.
A couple times, and like we vibed a little bit on Instagram. Let me go eat with you and see how you are in person. And then I meet you in person. You're a fucking asshole. You're disgusting. And it is what it is. It happens all the fucking time.
You say don't put yourself in that situation, but every time you go out with a guy, you're taking a risk.
Okay.
You take a risk every time you go out with the guy.
But there's a difference between going from the restaurant to the house, right? So
I will agree with her on that.
Thank you.
I read a book and it was called Why Men Love Bitches. I'm pretty sure a lot of girls.
Love that book.
It's a good book. Good book. She did say like you're basically like going to the house with a sign in your head saying "fuck me." Like you're going to their house.
You know, if you put yourself in, it takes some time to learn.
But let's also talk about that sexual assault doesn't only happen in the bedroom. It can
happens
happen anywhere.
It happens at the bar I work at. Women get groped all the time.
And sexually assault is not only a man sticking his dick inside you.
Yeah.
That part.
So once again, if you're in public, this is happening. Help! I feel oppressed. Something. Just
that's happened to me, and people didn't do shit.
Exactly.
They saw a man yelling at me, grabbing me in all different ways,
and all they did was record.
And they were just watching me.
So
and
you
bystander effect.
Come on,
we all know about.
Punch 'em.
That was when I was younger, and I didn't have a voice because I didn't grow up with a voice. I found my voice through social media, through the shit I've been through. Because you know what, I had to grow up and learn.
Mm-hmm.
I learned from my mistakes, and I made plenty, but some people haven't made those mistakes and they won't learn until they do, which is really unfortunate, but
it's not until something bad happens when they really,
and that sucks. It sucks.
Which just says we could probably do a lot more for education for women and for men as well.
This is the Victim Olympics. Okay. We're gonna go on. It's interesting when I frame things from a masculine context of me bearing responsibility. You guys are all for it, but when I frame it on the female side, it's like, no, it's the men, it's that, blah blah blah. This whole discussion kind of proves what I've always said, is that women have a very difficult time taking accountability for their own actions.
I think it's the opposite.
I disagree because reality holds men accountable regardless of whether they want to accept it or not. Women are not held accountable for their actions.
There's different realities for men and women.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, we already talked about it, like the way men are born with value and women aren't, like just exactly how you said. Like
it's actually the opposite.
Whatever.
Women are born with value, men are not.
Still different realities. You have your opinion from a male's perspective.
Women have an easier existence than men do.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Really?
I don't think so. We have to put up with.
Okay, yeah, we get into clubs for free. We get on yachts for free, sure. But what about the people that don't give a fuck about that, but have to literally carry pepper spray, have a gun, worry about walking the streets at night, like walking their dogs? I couldn't be safe. Like
men are the victims of violent crime way more than women, about 66% more.
It's all based.
And the people committing them is men.
But y'all do realize
not every change the fact that men are the ones that are victims of violent crime, not women. Yeah. So that's
we still are.
The problem is that women feel a certain way, but what's real are two different things. You might feel unsafe, but that doesn't mean you're unsafe. But the problem is that women are ruled by their emotions. How you feel is irrelevant. What's real? The reality is, statistically speaking, as a man, you face far more danger than a woman does.
And don't get mad.
You walking the street in the middle of the night in Miami is not going to be worse than a female walking the street.
I'm gonna get robbed. There's a higher likelihood that I will be the victim of a violent crime over a woman by
I
far.
Get sex trafficked.
That's sex trafficking is not as common as you think it is. It's not nearly as common as you think it is, and I know that because I used to investigate it. Most of the time, it's prostitution, and it's complicit prostitution
by choice. Once again,
by choice.
Yeah.
It's not always
those 10-year-old little girls are saying they want to have sex with those 30-year-old men. Is what you're saying?
Once again, That is an
Oh my
exception to the
God.
rule
Oh
and
my
not common.
gosh.
You ladies keep making exceptions for the rule like a minority. That doesn't happen often. Most of the time when women are being claimed to be trafficked, they're 18 plus years old and they want to be prostitutes.